Ven VR Adventure is a platforming adventure game set around Ven and his homeworld. In this game you must help Ven to stop the antagonist invader Bruce Nelson from finding the source of youth and energy on Ven's planet, which keeps everything from the plants to Ven healthy and prolongs their life. At the same time you must also save the young Ikai who are hiding within each level. Side note by the way, if you don't like the young Ikai, you are a monster and you should leave right now. Just saying. On that note, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, otherwise you'll make the young Ikai upset, and I think we both know we don't want that. My first impressions of this game is what made me want to play it. It looks very colourful, the art style makes it look amazing, and on top of that it just looks overall fun. And the fact that it's VR was another big factor, as I haven't really seen any platformers in a VR format other than Moss. It was just something I knew I had to try out. The way Ven VR starts you off is you listen to a voiceover explaining the story with some images to give some kind of background as to what's happened up to this point. You then do a short tutorial mission, and then you're on your way in a sort of spaceship hub type area, where you can select what level you want to go to, see how well you've performed in previous levels, and also change your settings if you need to. In terms of what the game offers, it's one of those rare games where what you see is what you get, and it's not often you see that in the current gaming industry. It's a very relaxed, fun, platforming game where you can take as long as you want to finish a level and look around to try and find all the collectibles. And with it being in VR, you can even just stop and take a moment to look around at the scenery, which is what I did in most of the levels. The gameplay of Ven is what I would explain as more of a hazard platformer, in the sense that nearly all the deaths you will end up having is not because of the enemies, it's more to do with the environment itself as it throws new obstacles at you throughout the game. I do like the way that this has been done though, because it doesn't throw everything at you in the first few levels, it still has a few tricks to show you in the final levels. If I was to try and compare the gameplay of Ven to any other platformer, I would say it's closer to Crash Bandicoot than anything else, purely because in the older Crash Bandicoot games you could run, jump and attack, and that was it. And that's basically what you have in Ven, plus the boxes do make you bounce, so I mean, what more do I need to say? Though I do mean that in a nice way, because Crash Bandicoot is a timeless classic. One thing that I do feel needs a mention at this point though is the difficulty. Now if you know me, I like a good platformer. I've played everything from Mario, Crash, Spyro, Sonic, etc, you get the point. But in this game, be warned, you will need very good timing and very good aim with your jumping to get through it. And you might think upon first playing Ven that I'm over exaggerating, but after the first 4 levels there's a fairly large increase in difficulty, and then once you get to level 9 there's another big jump. Which, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the challenge, but some people may get frustrated with this, as you quickly go from nice simple platforming design to quickly needing to dodge logs and saw blades, to a final push where you need to make a jump in between platforms that instantly fall and will drop you to your death if you fail the jump. However, there are checkpoints within the levels, so you don't have to redo the entire level if you do die, which is always nice. Ven also has a cool feature if you want some replayability or a challenge, is that once you beat a level, you can actually repeat it, and at the start there will be a small clock on the ground. Jump on it and you will start time trial mode. Times you and everyone else sets within the game sit on a global leaderboard, so if you want, you can try and fight for the top spot for each level. I think this is a pretty neat way to try and keep people playing. If you really want to push yourself and perfect your timing, this would be a very good way of doing it, as you don't get any checkpoints in time trial mode. Die, and you have to restart the entire level. There are a few small negatives within the game. The first one I won't spend too much time on, and I will explain why, and that issue is the camera. In some areas you end up looking in almost uncomfortable positions, like extreme down looking sections, and also when Ven is up high and you can't really see what you're doing very well. Another issue with the camera is it also doesn't like you going backwards, so you have to kind of spin your chair around if you want to see behind you, which may not be ideal, especially if your chair doesn't spin. They are, however, already working on a reworked camera, so hopefully within the next few months that should be a non-issue. I have included it here, however, just so you're aware if you're thinking of buying it now. It's not a widespread issue though, so just be aware in some areas it can be annoying. The second issue is more of a suggestion, I guess. While I know this is a platforming game, I wish we had a little bit more use for our VR hands. There are some boss sections where you do need to use them, but in normal levels they're basically just a controller. Even if it was just now and again, I would have liked to see something where you had to use your hands to clear a path for Ven, knock something over for Ven to walk over, or lift something for Ven to go under, or something along those lines. It would have just made it feel more inclusive as a VR experience. That's just my personal take. All in all, I think Ven VR Adventure is a really fun first attempt for Monologic Games, and I really hope we see more content or even a sequel at some point. If we do, I hope it builds on Ven and expands on his moveset and his home planet with even more characters and ideas. I think if they improve on the characters and the story, and have some more interaction within that area, Ven could be a staple VR game as it has the potential to be. Ven VR Adventure is currently on Oculus PC and Steam, which means you do currently need a PC to play it, but Monologic is aiming to have it on Quest and PSVR in Q2 of 2021. And they also aim to have a non-VR version around Q4 2021. So if you don't have VR, you will be able to play this eventually. Though just remember that it is a target date, it's not set in stone, it is subject to change, so I'd follow Monologic to get solid info. But it will be nice to see more people getting access to this, as it is a rather unique game in VR at the moment. If you do have VR and you are into your platformers, I do recommend checking this game out. It's not a super long game, but it has a lot of character, and its use of VR makes it different to any other platformer that I have played. But that's all for this video, so I will see you for the next one.